Don't sleep on the All Blacks. Welcome back to Rock and Roll Rugby. And yes, I have said that. And to anyone that, think that the All Blacks don't have a chance, I reckon this is the best team that the All Blacks have featured in all of the World Cup. They've had some issues with injuries, and a lot of those players are back. And I think Foster has kind of said, listen guys, we're going to go full on from here all the way to the quarters. We're going to build some confidence, and this is the team that we're looking to feature, close to the team that we're going to feature at the World Cup quarters, building up. Now let's go into this team, and I will give a bit more of what I think of this team, but I honestly do think, don't sleep on this team. And the Irish should not at any point think that this game is going to be easy when they get into the quarters. I do believe fully that this weekend the All Blacks will beat the Italians by probably, I'm modest when I'm saying 40, probably 50, 60. I have a feeling that the All Blacks will run riot with this game, and they're going to build up that confidence that they need. And maybe I am, just being too confident here, but I've got a feeling when I'm looking at this team, this is gonna be the time that the All Blacks turn this all around and kind of say, we're also here to play. Don't sleep on us. And the reason why I'm saying this is just the depth in this team is back, and this is something that the All Blacks have lacked in this World Cup due to injuries and just, I think, some poor decisions leading up to it and in the World Cup. But let me get right into the team, and let's give our comments there. So Tugafasi, Cody Taylor, and of course Lalala, your most experienced props. Nothing wrong with that. Get them on there. And I can tell you now, Jason Ryan's going to come out this week and he's going to want perfection from these guys. Then of course Brodie Retallick and Scott Barrett. That gives you that option where now you have Whitelock on the bench. That creates depth, guys. That's what you want from this All Black team. Scott Barrett, outstanding player. Good to see him back. And I think this is going to change the dynamic for this All Black team. I think they're going to be super competitive at the breakdowns. And I think this forward pack is going to come out there with a different, ferocious attitude. Then looking at, that loose trio, you're not going to get better. That is what you want to see from this All Black team. Frizell, Xavier, and Papali'i. That is definitely the best option for those for that loose trio. Yes, Luke Jacobson has been decent, but I do prefer Papali'i there with Frizell. They're just very physical, and they're going to carry that ball over the advantage line. We see Xavier here, the captain again, and this is the future for me. Sam Cane, yeah, you can put him on the bench, you can do what you want with him. There's that loyalty, I get it, but Sam Cane is no longer for me a starting player. So I like this makeup of this team. Then going into the back line, let's go look at that. I mean, Aaron Smith, Richie Mo'unga, nothing wrong with that. And then Barrett and Rico Ioane, going back to what's worked for the All Blacks. I still believe this is the best combination. And and then if you go further down, guys, let me just scroll down a bit. Let's go all the way. If we look at that, a Will Jordan and a Mark Talia, by far the best two for me. Tough though for Lester Fanganuku. Lester Fanganuku, that they didn't put him maybe on the bench as a tough one. That's the one thing that I kind of battle with a little bit. But I think it comes to utility, and they had to go for utility type backs. And unfortunately, Fanganuku more of a specialized wing, not as much of a center, and that's maybe why they haven't looked at him. If you go look at those two backs that they've got there on the bench, they've gone for Damian McKenzie and Anton Leonard-Brown, both kind of utility. You can move them to a wing position, but you can also play them at any of the other positions. I like the fact that McKenzie is being more involved in this team. I think Foster has lacked keeping him in the mix. He's put his hand up in the last game, and McKenzie is going to play a huge role. Again, creating that depth. Anton Leonard-Brown, the same thing there. Being able to slot in anywhere. I like the makeup of this team. Then going into the rest of the bench there, before I go there, Bowden Barrett on fullback. You know what? Nothing wrong with those two Barrett brothers on 12 and 15. Bowden Barrett, a lot of criticism about his kicking and maybe too much kicking and whatever. Don't sleep on I'm going to say this again, don't sleep on the All Blacks, because Barrett is very, very instrumental. The way that he involves himself in that backline and the way that he gets involved there. And then looking at the bench, Dane Cole's, still really, really good coming from the bench. A great impact player to have there. And then the big talk this week, I thought Timothy Williams would get a start. Coming off the bench, nothing wrong with that. Again, the thing is, his impact coming on is going to be huge. He's a big boy. And then Tyrell Lomax being back also is huge for them. Just to create that depth, just to have big bodies coming on second half and just kind of coming with fresh legs, being able to make a huge impact. And I've already said Whitelock. Whitelock being able to come on second half. That's what you want from your more experienced players, to be able to come up with fresh legs on the second half and to make a huge impact, because they haven't played a full game. They're not gassed. They're gonna be able to make a huge impact. Sam Cane right in there, and I think Sam Cane and the makeup of this All Black team will also be very good coming from the bench. And then of course, somewhere Foster, it's hit home that Christie is not the second option. Roygard might be young, but he's the boy to go to. That guy, we'll see in this game against Italy, but I think he's going to have some breaks and he's going to score some tries. I kind of compare him a lot to Grant Williams, although Grant Williams are not necessarily being used as much on scrum half. He's just got that ability with his pace to just snipe and score amazing top tries, break the line, catch the defense unexpected, and that's what Cam Roygard's going to bring. I mean, if you look at this overall team and you look from top to bottom, it's just a really, really good team. And if they take this game and build on this, that can just be really, really dangerous when it comes to those quarters. The only thing that I will say, guys, is my only thing that I can say that from an All Black perspective you can be concerned about is obviously injuries and playing basically your best team with, I think, probably your best substitutes. There could be some debates around Sam Cane. There could be maybe some debates around Anton Leonard-Brown. But, that you could have maybe played a lesser Fayanugu. But generally, probably for me, the best bench, a lot of experience, and a full side. So if they can get through this game versus Italy, concede no cards, and really, we've seen the Springboks and the Irish do that. You have minimal injuries and cards. If you can do that, get through this game and go into that quarters with this type of team, the All Blacks are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And don't underestimate them in that quarters versus the Irish, that they can cause an upset and that, it's then anyone's game, because finding form at the right time is very important. Having the right players, especially for a team like the All Blacks. I just feel if we look at total depth versus a team like the Springboks and the Irish, they need the right guys on the bench. They need enough depth in that bench to be able to compete. As soon as that bench is light, like we've seen in some games, they struggle a bit. But as soon as that bench looks stacked, and that's how it looks in this game, you know that they're going to have a really good shot. And I just feel that this is going to be the game that they'll make a statement. And going into that World Cup quarters, there's no ways that you can't say this team will not be able to make it through. It's going to be a flip of the coin for both of those quarterfinals. France, if France had to play with their current injuries, play the Springboks in any other game that wasn't the World Cup hosting, I would say definitely the Springboks would win, looking at form and everything and injuries. But they're playing at home. It's a World Cup quarters. It's really going to be a flip of a coin, unfortunately. And it's going to be so dependent on the referees. We've seen the influence that the referees has got. The same exact thing for me when it comes to the Irish versus the All Blacks. If it works out the way I think it's going to work out, if the Irish are going to play the All Blacks, then you got to say that it could go any way if they can feature a team similar to this in that quarterfinals without any injuries. Guys, I hope you like my little analysis about this whole thing. And you know what? Tell me in the comments if you don't agree. I hear you. Maybe some people will feel I'm overrating this All Black side, but I think a lot of people are really sleeping on this side. And it's just generally because the side has shown faults. Definitely faults or kind of weaknesses at times, and that's when they haven't had the depth and they haven't had, you know, the full complement, because they just don't have the kind of options in depth. It's just not been created by Foster. Foster's not done the best job at bringing enough players in if I compare Irish and a Springbok team in depth. So he's got to work with what he's got. And if everyone's fit and ready, you know, between this bench and starting lineup, 100% can they win a quarters. But say they get 1 to 2, you know, injuries or cards in this upcoming games up to the quarters, then it's a different story. But if this is the way it will look for them going into the quarters, you know, like I said, don't sleep on the All Blacks. Guys, if you enjoyed my little reaction to this and just my total analysis, hit the subscribe button. Like I've explained in the previous videos, you know, there's many guys out there making these type of videos, and I will always have to compete with the big boys, the guys with the high subscribers. So if you want to be notified of my future videos, you've got to hit that subscribe button so that I show up on your homepage when I come up. I make a lot of videos, so I will come up. And if you ring the bell, you've got probably even a better chance. But anyway, I appreciate you all, and thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.